I'm going to make red delicious apples my y. What's my total, guys? 28. So I'm going to write an equation in standard form. It says it's $4 for Gala, $2 for y, or $2 for red delicious. So Emma Kingsley, what's my equation going to be?
28 equals 4x plus 2y.
Yay. You could solve for y and get this in slope-intercept form, but I would go ahead and just find your x and y intercept. Since it's in standard form, that would be pretty quick to do. I'm going to start by finding my y-intercept, which means I plug in 0 for what? X, because on the x-axis, or on the y-axis, x is 0. So plus 2y is equal to 28. So 2y equals 28. And y would be what?
14.
Bingo. That's a point, 0, 14. So that means I could buy 0 pounds of Gala apples and 14 pounds of Red Delicious, right? Am I doing that right? Yes. Let's find your our x-intercept. So 4x plus 2 times 0 equals 28. 4x equals 28. And x would be 7, which would be the point 70. Okay. So this is what we talked about yesterday. If you're trying to figure out how to scale a graph, because if you look at this one, it doesn't have a scale, you should figure out your intercepts to see how high you're going to have to go on each axis. So I know I'm only going to have to go up to 7 on my x-axis. I'm only going to have to go up to 14 on my y-axis. And let's make sure I did that correctly. Yes. Okay. I'm going to, I don't know. What do you guys think I should go by on my x-axis? 2s? What if I skip every 2 lines and label 1? Can I do that? Okay. Yes. So I'm going to start at 0. Let's label our axes. This is the x-axis would be my Gala apples. In pounds, LB. My y-axis is the Red Delicious apples. In pounds. That's important. Oh, we forgot to label our title. What do you guys want my title to be?
Apples.
Apples. How about purchasing apples? Buying apples?
Delicious apples.
Tasty apples.
Sure. It's your title. Just don't get too crazy on the EOC. Okay? And let's label our axes. So we're going to try, if I skip 2 every 1, so it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. So it does go all the way up to 7. I'm going to go ahead and do that. I know it doesn't leave me any extra space, but because we can't technically go past 7, it'll be okay.
It means that it means that y is 14.
Mm-hmm. And then so that went up to 7, skipping every 2.
Well, 2 is on
Yeah,
So skip 2, label every 2. So technically every square could be 1 because there's exactly 14 squares here, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I could go 2, 4, 6, oh gosh, 8, 10, 12, 14. And if it takes you some trial and error, that's okay. Just use a pencil, right? So this works out nicely. I can plot my 2 intercepts, 7, 0 and 0, 14. And before we graph this function, because if I draw a line, then I'm saying this is continuous. I can have 5.2 pounds of apples. I can have everything in between those counting numbers. Tell your neighbor, what do you think it should be, discrete or continuous? Ah! Okay, you guys have clearly never bought apples before.
It can be continuous
Ben, why can it be continuous?
because you can buy half a ton of apples.
You can buy half a pound of apples. I do this all the time. You can buy 2.7 pounds of apples. You can buy anywhere in between. Remember those, you know those scales that you see? Yeah, sometimes you can buy the bagged apples and they're already in pounds, but those scales weigh it, and so you can buy random poundage. That's a fun word. And so, yes, it can be continuous. You could have whole pounds of apples, but you don't have to. You can buy half a pound or a quarter pound or a third of a pound or 0.27 of a pound of apples. So I'm going to say it's continuous, and I'm going to graph a straight line between my 2 points. So circle continuous. Catherine? Yep. From 0 to 7. And it does include 0 to 7. You could have 0 pounds of Gala apples. You could also have exactly 7 pounds of Gala apples. And then how about my range? Raise your hand. Aaron?
Your range would be 0 is less than or equal to y, which is less than or equal to 14.
Yep. So I could, sorry, I'll outline it. So you could choose to just buy Gala or just buy Red Delicious. It's up to you. Ellie, what's my equation?
6x plus 20y equals 180.
Yep. It said I have to spend exactly 180, so this is not an inequality. Also, we haven't started talking about graphing inequalities yet, so I wouldn't make you do that yet. Okay, let's find our intercepts. So please go ahead and find your x and y intercepts. I think you're capable of doing that on your own at this point. Oh, and just so we're clear, I chose tops to be 15, or tops to be x and bottoms to be y. Which means on my graph it would have to be tops on the x-axis and bottoms on the y.
Who spends their birthday night in clothes? I'm saving mine for college. I'm saving mine for college.
Birthday money. That's my top or my title. Please find your intercepts. Our y-intercept would end up being 0, 9. Our x-intercept would be 12, 0. Because you know those will for sure be good answers because they are counting numbers. Oh, whoops. 0, 14. Oh my gosh. What is that? 12, 0. There you go. I'm stuck on the last problem. And 0, 9. Now let's ask ourselves, should this be, think in your head, should it be discrete or continuous? In your head. Adelaide, what should it be? It should be discrete because you should not have 2.7 tops. That's just not realistic, right?
Bring some scissors, you can.
I could, do I have a thing here? Where is it? It's the line. I want the line tool. No. Hitting perfectly right now. Raise your hand. DJ, where it's 1 point? 8, 3. Yep. Oh, whoops, not there. 8, 3. Where else? Nancy?
1, 8.
1, 8. Ooh. It's a,
Hits as much as the.
it looks, yeah, you're right, it does.
For this.
So this is why this is not a perfect example. So it sure does look like it, and I see why you said that. Probably because I didn't graph my line perfectly.
4 and 6.
Yeah, 4, 6 is one.
4 and 6 are the other
It's just
one.
those 2 points.
I think
Okay, so let's talk about why 1, 8 doesn't work.
just because of the
If
way
you
you put it.
if you plug it in, I plug in 1 for x, I get 15. If I plug in 8 for y, I would get 160, right? 160 plus 15 would be 175, so it's just 5 short. So that's one strategy you could use. It's not perfect because if you're like me, even with the straight line tool, sometimes you graph it imperfectly. My domain for this one would only be the numbers for those points that I've graphed. So I'm going to help you on the first one. My domain for x's would be 0, 4, 8, and 12. Do you see how I did not write an inequality? Because we did not have a continuous function. So what's my range going to be? Pierre?
0, 4, 6, 9. Or no, 0, 3.
There you go. Yeah.